You were nice to permit me to write that down. I just have to write down the things that I remember. Because, as Einstein said, I use paper for memory and my brain for discovery. And I'm working on a book that's going to come out next summer solstice called The Chauffeur. And it's all the stories of my interacting with him, which is the sequel to Buried Treasures. But there's another book coming out in between. So. When you back up, you recognize in a state of awareness, and then to accommodate some three-dimensional event in your life, you back up and you become less conscious, less aware, less inclined to be compassionate. And what he said beyond that moment was that when you move from being strictly logical and three-dimensional into being non-logical, non-linear, intuitive, and multidimensional, when you back up to try to explain things three-dimensionally, you get severe, whatever you want to call it, tire damage. This is the greatest snafu in the spiritual path. When you move to your center, more and more and more to your center, you get there by coordinating the pulse of your breath with the beat of your heart. It's called pranayama. And when you get there, your insight, your awareness, your revelations don't speak to you in logical language. Whatever your native tongue is, English, French, Persian, Farsi, Hebrew, it doesn't speak to you in a language, in a linear language. It speaks to you in tones, T-O-N-E-S, in tones. Tones and inflections. And the heart understands this language. The heart understands tones and inflections. You can hear a baby speaking in tones and inflections before it learns a logical, linear language. And before it learns a logical, linear language, its eyes operate parallel. They do not converge. And so it bypasses the third dimension and moves immediately into the fifth and sixth dimensions. It's not until a small child begins to objectify its surroundings by describing them in a linear language that it adds that third dimension and creates a separation. Because that third dimension measures the distance between you and an object. If it's a virtual object, you will use time, and you will insert time in that place. How long will it take me to achieve X? how far away is this person? Prior to that, the young child, the infant, sees its connection to everything. And it's interesting because the human form is the most helpless of all creatures when it's born. I mean, reptiles don't even get mothering. The eggs are laid, the eggs hatch, it's on its own. A horse is standing within moments to be able to reach the nipples. A human child goes 80, 90 years, never grows up. And so what we've done, because most of human beings are not evolved enough to grow up in a life, what we have done is we've created fictional goals and endeavors. And we measure them. Every member of Congress is a millionaire. And they're denying laborers an extra $2 an hour. And all of media is covering it. And all of the voting population is watching it. That's because when children have been children too long, scanning the room for a child, they make shit up and think it's real. For us to be at all in that three-dimensional space is so beneath our dignity. But the world that we are occupying is controlled by those that are dominating that sandbox. And the shovels and the pails that they are using in that sandbox are affecting the health of everyone. And so we must learn how to not fight the children in the sandbox, because that will only make them stronger. We must create an alternative to the sandbox that is so enchanting and so compelling that those that are attracted into it become exotically successful at what their deepest passion is. And if you do not become exotically successful at what your deepest passion is, you're holding out, you're backing up, and your severe tire damage is that you will ask for sympathy to smooth your failure. Instead of a meal to eat, you will ask for a thumb to suck. Beneath your dignity, severe tire damage. when you travel inward in your meditative consciousness, and the reason that we do yoga is to keep our physical body from disturbing our meditative consciousness with its demands, because if our physical body is not fully fulfilled, it will be crabby. And the noise that it produces in that crabbiness will keep us separated from our ultimate consciousness. And so we won't be able to sit down long enough to get in deep enough to where the illogical, intuitive nature exists, where you can know where it is you're going, not through linear language explanations, but through tone and intonations and information.